I'm back. Welcome to the second installment in my series in which I am attempting, as an American, to deconstruct the ethnocentric part of my identity by sharing with you all the different countries I've traveled to in chronological order. So I've already talked about how in 1988, as a 7-year-old, I visited Canada, which is the first foreign country. 10 years later, as a 17-year-old, I would then go visit Ecuador, which I was the second member of my family to do so because my dad, in 1987, when I was only 6, he went there as part of the National Guard, and they built some roads there. So 11 years later, when I was 17, I went there with a church group. And we all had different things that we did there based on our talents and abilities. So, for example, there were some that worked on construction to help build churches and schools. As for me, as you won't be surprised to hear this, as I'm a YouTuber, I was part of basically the drama team. And we had skits that we did alongside music that was obviously Spanish, and just other skits that involve more pantomiming there in the city plaza in Quito, Ecuador. So that's what I did. And then we also worked at basically like a Bible camp. And so I remember like playing soccer with some of the kids and, you know, not knowing any Spanish. That was the summer, 1988, right before my senior year of high school. My senior year of high school is when I took a year of Spanish. I'd already taken 2 years of French. So I didn't know any Spanish at that point when I was in Ecuador. And here comes the ethnocentric part of it. Anytime there needed to be anyone to speak Spanish, we had people in our group, whether they were American or whether they were from Ecuador, that could speak Spanish to translate that. But again, even for me, to play soccer with the kids, to, you know, do these skits and along with the songs, do motions, whatever I did, is this entertainment there in the city plaza. It required me to speak no Spanish. And so looking back on it, I think that did reinforce my ethnocentric part of me. Yeah. As a 17-year-old, I thought, okay, I can fly down to Ecuador. I can help other people without ever speaking a word of Spanish. And not in a prideful way, but just it was a realization that that's something I was able to do because I was part of that group. It was interesting to think about too, though, that, you know, those people, because 21.6% of me, according to my heritage, is Central American. I shared some DNA with these people, but I didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak mine, you know. But it worked, and I think you're going to see that in upcoming videos where I talk about other countries I've been to. It reinforced the ethnocentric part of me every time I'd go to a foreign country and not need to speak their language. And more importantly, they needed to speak my language, and that was a lot of the value of me being there in the first place. Because as an American, realizing that in certain parts of the world, learning English is such a commodity. So for an American to come there and help someone with that, I think that definitely reinforces those values. But I've never been to Spain, but I have definitely been to Ecuador, which is nowhere near Spain. But they did speak Spanish, and it worked out just fine. So go ahead and tell me how ethnocentric I am as an American based on my experience in Quito, Ecuador in the summer of 1998, which was 20 years ago. By the way, I'm in Sacramento right now. See the palm trees? Yeah, you don't normally see that because usually I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, comments, do it.